The Canadian government has pledged $200,000 in medical aid to help those injured during Ukraine's protests. But will Canada give financial aid to help bail out the cash-strapped country? And while Canada's delegation meets the new government in Kiev, the situation is escalating in Ukraine's Crimean region. What are the concerns over Russian intervention there? Joining me now by Skype from Kiev is the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of National Defence, James Bezan. Good to see you, James Bezan.
Well, thanks for having me on.
What was it like? Tell us a little bit about what it was like touring the Maidan, the scene of those violent protests. What did it feel like?
Well, it was very surreal, knowing that last time I was in Ukraine a couple of years ago, that was just a thriving metropolitan center of Kiev, to watching all the protests and then the violence on the streets over the last few months, and knowing that just a week ago that we saw, now counts approaching 100 peaceful protesters that were shot down and beaten brutally on the streets only a week ago, and you know that it's such a solemn occasion to be on the Maidan, and to walk down today where everybody is paying their respects and their sympathies, and preserving the evidence of how these peaceful protesters and activists were killed in such a great demonstration of fighting for their liberty.
I know that you're there in part to show solidarity and that Canada is behind what is happening for people in Ukraine. But do you feel you might be there too early, given the situation is so fluid and there are still ongoing concerns about an intervention by Russia?
Not at all, Rosemary. It is important that we're here to show that we not only stand solidly with the people of Ukraine in their aspirations and the achievements that they have made so far, but it's also to demonstrate that we are in support of the acting president, that he is legitimate, that we are in support of the announced cabinet and the new prime minister that just was sworn in yesterday. So it is very important that we're here, and to encourage the rest of the free world to show their support as well.
How worried are you, though, about how things are unfolding? Today we saw a number of airports seized in the region of Crimea. The airspace was shut down. There are armed men that have stormed the parliament buildings there. They raised a Russian flag. I noticed that the Ukrainian acting president has called on Vladimir Putin to stop provoking measures. And, of course, that's what the world is trying to do right now, trying to tell Russia to back off. How concerned are you about what might play out here in terms of what we're seeing in Crimea and whether it could escalate into something else?
Well, it is definitely not helpful. We expect all countries to respect Ukraine's right to self-determination and their territorial integrity. Just yesterday, the Russian foreign minister and the Canadian Russian ambassador have stated that they respect the borders of Ukraine, that they respect their right to self-determination and their independence. So we take them at their word, and know that, there was, we heard often today talk about the Budapest Memorandum that was signed in 1994 by Ukraine, by Russia, the European Union, the United Kingdom, the United States, which said that the territory that Ukraine occupies today is theirs, that they have their right to self-determination, and that they are an independent country. And we expect Russia and all signatories to that memorandum to respect it.
I know that the Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. Baird, announced $200,000 in medical aid to help those injured in the violence. Obviously, that's going to help with people on the ground. But obviously, one of the steps going forward that Ukraine will need is some sort of economic stability as well. How much discussion has there been so far about what Canada can do on that front? Of course, the U.S. announced a whole bunch of loan guarantees yesterday. What might Canada do there?
Well, we are going to cooperate with the International Monetary Fund and all of the partners of the IMF in, first of all, doing the fact-finding mission determine what is mutually acceptable to IMF and the government of Ukraine in moving forward to stabilize this economy. We are seeing the currency devalue quite rapidly over the last couple of days, and so we will be moving quite quickly in collaboration with like-minded nations and the IMF to put together a package that is acceptable and helpful to the people of Ukraine.
So there's more money coming.
Yes, and just to follow up on what we did announce today was another $200,000 in medical support and that's in addition to the $61,000 that we already committed to the hospitals that were set up, the field hospitals that were set up around the Maidan, because protesters that were injured were too scared to go to their own regular hospitals because they were being kidnapped from the emergency rooms and then taken out and tortured and interrogated and often killed. So we visited one of those field hospitals today, which was at St. Michael's Monastery, just on the edge of the Maidan. So they actually used the church grounds and the monastery area as a triage center, and they're still using it today, and there's still people that are getting treated for old wounds and beatings. We saw one individual we spoke to that actually had some bullet wounds, and you know it's so incredible that people pull together. I was speaking to one Canadian doctor that actually worked in one of the field hospitals here, and just informed me today that one of the people that he thought she had saved died today from kidney failure, who had been shot through one of his kidneys. So that's another fatality to add to the total. So some incredible stories, very sad stories, how a government could take such brutal action against their own citizens.
James Bezan, I appreciate you giving us some perspective on what it feels like there on the ground and what the government is continuing to do. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you very much.